I still remember the way the cashier looked at me that day. Her fingers paused midair, hovering over my food stamp card, as if it carried something contagious. The people behind me sighed, whispering just loud enough for me to hear. Some people just don't try hard enough. I lowered my eyes, pretending not to notice. But inside, something cracked. My name is Millie, and once upon a time, I had everything. A loving husband, a warm home, and dreams that felt so close I could almost touch them. But dreams don't always break loudly. Sometimes they disappear quietly, piece by piece. It started when my husband, Daniel, lost his job. At first, we told ourselves it was temporary. "We'll figure it out," he said, holding my hand tightly. And I believed him. I always believed him. But what I didn't know that day was that losing his job wasn't the beginning of our problems. It was the beginning of the truth. Weeks turned into months. Bills piled up like silent accusations. I picked up extra shifts at a small grocery store, working late into the night, while Daniel stayed home. "At least one of us should rest," he'd say. At the time, it sounded reasonable. Now, I know it was an excuse. Then one evening, everything changed. I came home early. My shift had been cut. I remember feeling relieved. Maybe we could spend time together, talk, laugh, feel normal again. But as I opened the door, I heard something. Laughter. Not mine. Not ours. A woman's voice. Soft, familiar, too comfortable. My heart started pounding as I stepped inside. And there he was, Daniel, sitting on our couch with my best friend, Carla, her hand resting on his arm, like it belonged there, like I never existed. "Wow, Nilly, you're home early," Carla said, pulling her hand away too quickly. But it was already too late, because in that moment, everything I thought I knew about my life shattered. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Not at first. I just stood there, frozen, staring at the two people I trusted the most, sitting together like strangers to my pain. "How long?" I finally asked. My voice didn't sound like mine. Daniel looked away. Carla stayed silent, and that silence told me everything. "Months?" I whispered. Carla swallowed. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I cut in, my voice trembling now. Because suddenly, I wasn't just hurt, I was invisible. Daniel stood up, running his hand through his hair. "Millie, things have been hard." "Hard?" I laughed bitterly. "So your solution was to betray me?" No one answered. And that was the moment I realized something painful. I had been fighting for a life that was already gone. That night, I packed a small bag, not because I wanted to leave, but because I refused to stay where I wasn't respected. As I walked out, Daniel didn't stop me. Carla didn't apologize. And somehow, that hurt more than the betrayal itself. The next few months were the darkest of my life. I moved into a tiny apartment that barely felt like a home. I worked double shifts, surviving on food stamps and hope that felt thinner each day. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, asking one question over and over again. Was I not enough? But slowly, something inside me began to change. Pain has a strange way of revealing strength you didn't know you had. I stopped waiting for answers. I stopped looking back. Instead, I started rebuilding. I took free online courses during my breaks. I learned skills I never thought I could. Marketing, small business basics, anything that could help me move forward. At first, it felt impossible, but every small step became a quiet victory. Until one day, an idea found me. At the grocery store, I noticed how people struggled to find affordable, healthy meal options. It reminded me of my own situation, counting every coin, choosing between needs. That's when it hit me. What if I could create something for people like me? Something simple, something helpful. That idea turned into a small meal prep service. At first, it was just me, cooking in my tiny kitchen, delivering meals after work. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And for the first time in a long time, I felt alive again. But what I didn't know was that my past wasn't done with me yet. 2 years later, I stood in front of my own office, a real one, glass doors, my name on the sign, Millie's Kitchen, affordable meals, real care. It still didn't feel real. What started as a survival plan had grown into a thriving business. I had a team, loyal customers, stability, and most importantly, I had myself back. Then one afternoon, as I reviewed orders, I heard a familiar voice. "Millie?" My heart skipped. I turned around slowly, and there he was, Daniel, standing there, looking smaller somehow, not physically, but in presence, like life had humbled him. "I heard about your business," he said, forcing a smile. "You've done really well." I nodded politely. "Thank you." There was an awkward silence. "I made a mistake," he finally said. I looked at him, not with anger, not with pain, but with clarity. "Yes," I replied softly. "You did." He stepped closer. I thought maybe we could talk, start over. For a moment, the old me would have considered it. The woman who once believed love meant sacrifice. But I wasn't her anymore. "I already started over," I said gently. His expression fell. And that was the closure I never knew I needed. A few weeks later, I heard through mutual friends that Carla had left him. Life had a way of circling back, revealing truths without me lifting a finger. And that's when I understood something powerful. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's building a life so strong that the people who broke you can no longer recognize you. I didn't win because they lost. I won because I found myself again. Now, every time I see someone struggling, counting coins, holding on to hope, I remember that girl at the checkout line, the one who felt invisible. And I whisper to her, even now, "You're not at the end of your story." Because sometimes the greatest comeback starts when everything falls apart. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been betrayed by those closest to you, know that you are stronger than the pain. Drop a comment below. I read every single one. And remember, keep blooming. If you like my story, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it.